All right, so for a lot of us, the practice of building relationships is paramount to our professional success, right? But there is one thing that really intelligent, really hardworking, and successful people unknowingly do that consistently cuts them off at the knees when it comes to establishing these new relationships. So a lot of times when I begin coaching an organization's team members on how to really up their communication game, if you will, I will conduct a sort of, say, audit on their communicative practices to find out how they're currently doing things. As you might imagine, I see a lot. Some good, some not so good, some downright scary. But there is one behavior that I see people walk out over and over again that when it's acknowledged and changed, absolutely transforms their interactions with other people. So let's say I am sitting down with a potential new client to try to win his or her business. Now, if I begin asking that person questions to get to know their current situation or challenge, and they get even the slightest impression that I am not fully engaged in the answers they're providing, how do you think that's going to affect their perception of me? Take it even a step further. How likely do you think that person is to want to actually sign on the dotted line with me as a service or product provider?
So, as my husband and I were going through my father's will last week, we discovered that he left me a much more sizable inheritance than I initially had anticipated. And so
So let me just tell you what I can do for you. So we're going to...
He didn't hear a word I said.
People want to feel heard. They want to feel as though what they are saying matters to the people they're speaking to. So there's this saying that I love because I think it's really true that goes, people may not remember what you tell them, but they will always remember the way you make them feel. I mean, think about it. We will often go to the same bars, the same restaurants, the same hair salons, heck, insurance providers, just because we love the way the people work there make us feel.
Hey, everybody.
Norm! At the end of the day, we might indeed be listening intently to that potential client or customer, but if we don't communicate that fact in a way that is meaningful to them, in a way that allows them to feel entirely heard and fully understood, it's pretty much game over. And what's worse is that when we don't do it, they're not going to tell us. We just won't ever hear from them again. So, how do we effectively get the people we're talking to believe wholeheartedly that we hear them and that what they're saying really matters to us? Well, we do it by way of a little technique that I like to call scooping. It's a really simple practice and one that revolves around selecting just one, maybe two words or ideas that someone puts forth, and then just repeating those words or ideas back to them in our response. Now, if you recall from the animated segment, Phil's method of just waiting until Janice finished talking so he could jump in with his solution didn't really fly. If Phil really wants to communicate in a way that allows Janice to feel as though what she's saying matters to him, he'll simply listen to what she's saying, pick out one or two select points or words, and then repeat them back to her. For example,
So, as my husband and I were going through my father's will last week, we discovered that he left us a much more sizable inheritance than either of us was expecting. And so now we're both wondering exactly how we should handle that money. I mean, should we invest it? Should we put it in a savings account? I've honestly never been in this situation before, so I'm not even sure where to begin.
Right. So, just to clarify, you and your husband went through the will together last week. Was that the first time either of you had seen it?
Yes,
Okay. Well, I will tell you this. In hearing that you've never been in this situation before, just know, Janice, that you are not alone.
Oh, really?
Yes, absolutely. There are a lot of folks who inherit money after a parent's passing and just don't know where to even start with managing it in the most effective way.
Yes, that's precisely how we feel. He gets me.
All right, so in this scenario, before even thinking about launching into a sales pitch, which a lot of people do, Phil simply repeated back to Janice specific words that she'd said to him, which in turn allowed her to feel like he understood her situation and that it was important to him. And consequently, she signed on the dotted line. A lot of the time, we do genuinely care about what people are telling us. We don't always know how to let them know it. So, next time you're having a conversation with somebody, really anybody, instead of waiting for a place to just jump in with your own thought or your own solution, try this little practice of scooping. I can almost guarantee that the person you are speaking with, whether it be a friend, a spouse, a potential client, will end up enjoying that conversation a whole lot more. I'll see you next time.